I was such an asshole and I am so sorry. I'm freaking out. So David is on his way here. David's my ex-boyfriend. In my last video, I was reading some of my old diaries and I realized that a bunch of my diaries are talking about old boys that I used to like or date or have crushes on. So I started reaching out to a couple of them and being like, hey, you wanna be in a video? And my ex-boyfriend's on his way over right now. So I'm kind of freaking out. I don't know what to expect. I've seen him since we broke up. I've talked to him, but we've never really talked about like our relationship. I'm so uncomfortable. It's gonna be so awkward. I hate confrontation. I hate confrontation. I will do anything to avoid a confrontation, an awkward conversation, a weird situation. Like I will do anything to get out of that. The fact that I am putting myself in an awkward situation today is giving me major diarrhea. So yeah, he's gonna be here any minute and I am nervous.
Okay, this is my first time doing anything with, I
know. This is David, everybody. David, I don't know, I'm so comfortable. He just said before I turned on the camera, we've seen each other since we dated and we just both had this unspoken rule, like we're just not gonna talk about that. And so the fact that we're gonna talk, I'm sweating. Like I feel warm. So
this is how I make people feel when I'm around them for some background.
There are some questions I wanna ask you. I wanna see like if we have the same perspective on, on things.
Okay.
I'm like salivating.
Like, I don't know if this makes me look like horrendous or great.
We were together. We would write to each other. So he brought all these journals. We met in college doing theater.
Yes.
We became like best friends. We got along super, super great and had everything in common, laughed so much together, like had such a great relationship. Yeah. Then it started turning into something more, but I was really scared of it to turn into anything more. You're already like, no way. But eventually, I'm telling the short version, okay? Yes. Then eventually, I'm so uncomfortable. Eventually, we dated, and I don't remember when that happened. So that's one of my questions.
Cool.
We dated for a while, but it was like not a healthy relationship because I was the worst. I just didn't want to be in the relationship. I know that's so mean.
I know.
But I was like, but he was my best friend in the whole world. And so I was like so torn because I love him so much and I didn't want to hurt him, but because of that, I was hurting him so much. We ended up splitting up because I was like, I don't think that I could ever be in a relationship because if this guy that I get along with so great and he's my best friend, I can't be with him, then I don't think I could be with anyone. And then we broke up and that's kind of the really short and condensed my version.
I mean, that's pretty much right, because we met and then immediately after me and my girl, which is when we got really close to begin with, I went on tour and I went on tour for like a really, really long time. I also left thinking that like, oh man, this girl and I are great and it's totally gonna be something. I'm gonna go on tour for a few years. I'm gonna come back and then like we'll pick up there and it'll be great. I think that I perceived it like that whole friendship stage was totally, I mean, the stereotype of like,
courtship.
Yeah, oh, the stereotype of like
the Duggars.
If I am this friend for this long, then of course, right? We started dating, I wanna say like 2007 into 2008, because I remember like the day after something, I was working in the box office at some theater in Long Beach.
The day after we started dating?
Yeah, because you called, you were with my sister and you like called and you were like, hey boyfriend. That's all I called to say. I was like, oh, cool, I guess this is what I've always wanted.
What an awkward human. I want to do some favorites, not some, there's one.
Favorite times with you. One.
But it was when we drove to the beach.
Oh yeah.
So we drove to the beach one night. We were not dating, we were friends. We drove to the beach and we found a cave and like explored a cave and it was like the middle of the night. So I love that we have space for Jesus in between us, just like college. So we go to the beach and then we danced in the ocean. You said, can you waltz?
Yeah.
And I was like, no. But we waltzed in the ocean under the moonlight and it was like so lovely. It was wonderful. My most vivid memory from that night was when you dropped me off at my dorm at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And I was walking down the hall and I was wearing lavender Converse because theater girl. And I remember walking down my hall and they were covered in sand and soaking wet and it was like squishing. And I remember just looking down at my feet and being like, oh, what a great night. And that was like,
I threw my boots away, I remember, because my boots got soaked.
So that was my favorite memory.
That's a great memory.
Yes,
that's a really, really good one. Okay, I have to think for a second. I'm not gonna be able to like, spit it out. No, I definitely do. Like something that pops into my head, and I also don't think we were dating. But similarly to that last one, I thought like there's no way we just spontaneously drove to the beach and waltzed in the ocean, so we're in love now, right?
I know.
So I remember being in New York with you, like we're with someone else who who I don't think cared for me, and I didn't really get along with them, and I was sleeping on the floor because I was crashing with you.
Because that's what you did when we were together.
Oh yes, I did. I slept on the floor all the time.
Yeah, always. By the way, that's like John's favorite thing to bring up because John is one of my roommates too.
And used to be my roommate.
He used to be his actual roommate. John always brings up, he's like, you are the biggest in the whole world. You made him sleep on the floor while you slept in his bed with his dog. He brings it up all the time. So I was like, you're the worst person. What college age couple doesn't sleep in the same...
This college age.
Yeah.
I remember there was a light up on the ceiling for some reason, and like we started making like hand puppets, and you were up in the bed and I was doing so. And it went on for a really long time, and it was like storytelling with multiple characters, and it was super charming. Like I remember just feeling like, oh, I'm so charmed.
Yeah.
This is lovely. It's like, all right. Cool, we're like 3 years in, so it's gotta be now.
3 years into our friendship, oh maybe someday. Well, it's like, it's giving anyone who's been friend zoned hope, because it was like years of friends and finally I was like, okay, let's try it. Then shattered everything.
But to be fair, I think in hindsight, it's also like you said, you didn't want to be in this relationship. I think that you knew, this isn't it, I really strong-armed you into, I mean.
I wanted it to work though, because I think you're the greatest, and so I was like, oh, this would be great if I just could like make it work, and then I couldn't. So in the set of Haters Back Off, a lot of that story of Haters Back Off on Netflix is based on a time when I was with you and friends with you and was at your house. So the kitchen in Haters Back Off is a literal exact replica of his kitchen that he lives at now, like his house. And there are things throughout the house that are things that were a part of our life. I wanted to know, I want you to tell them what that was like.
It was very surreal.
Yeah.
Like it's surreal enough for me to still see like the, my closet and the kitchen in the background of those original videos where I remember they were being shot. But it's like, oh, it's crazy. And like the little, the chia pet heads.
I have them, they're in my garage. The chia pet heads are of me and David. So that's something that nobody knows. Like those chia pet heads that are in the background of basically every shot.
Did your mom make
My mom made them, so my mom loved David, like so much. My mom made these chia pet heads, and when we were writing, one of the pictures that we brought in was like the chia pet heads, and everyone was like, what are those? And I was like, they're chia pets. They're like homemade chia pets out of stockings. And they were like, that's weird. And so they remade them because they thought they were so bizarre. Okay, this one's gonna be awkward, but what's your worst memory? You already have one in your mind.
I've got one that's not gonna be on this video. I remember when we broke up, and I think like it was the first step of like the real breaking up, because we took lots and lots of breaks. And it was at the time that it was like, okay, I think we're done. We had taken a trip to New York. We were sleeping on Katie Costello's floor.
This is my exact same worst memory.
Is it? Oh man. So we're sleeping on the floor in this like really frigid new apartment of like a friend of mine. And I can't remember exactly why it came up, but it came out that it was just like, I'm not attracted to you. And I remember thinking like, shoot, well that's a problematic situation. It's quiet, like for a minute, and I think I like got up and like pouted in the bathroom for a second, and then came back, and I was like, quiet and sleeping midway.
Oh no, did I make it worse?
Hey, do you want to know something though? And I was like,
I said this?
Yes.
You
don't even know this part. This is the memory. This is the part.
The thing he just said is my worst memory.
Oh man, well at least it gets funnier, because you're like full on smiling like you've got the way out. You've got the way to fix it. Do you know something? And I was like, what? It's about John. And I was like, what do you, what? And you're like, John's and I was like,
I do not remember this.
Yes, as like a...
I outed him as my way out of being an asshole?
Yes, and I was like, okay, okay. And then I like went back to sleep or whatever. It was such a like, yeah, that didn't do anything for this situation right now.
I do
but you
not
were really optimistic about
that.
it.
See how much I hate confrontation and drama problems? I'm like, let's just pretend I didn't say that horribly mean thing. Like, yeah, that's my worst memory too. I feel like I have a lot of memories now as like an adult, more mature person where I look back on my relationship with you and I'm like, wow, I was such an asshole and I'm so sorry.
I think that's an interesting stance on it though, because just thinking of it, like for someone who was like going after you incessantly and like didn't see a problem, that was a big understanding. Like all I'm making is the case for like some honesty, because in a different situation where like that was the reality and we had kept on it like to a point that there's not a point of no return, but there's points of easier return and not as easy return. So I don't begrudge you that. I don't think that was a particularly like vile, cruel instance.
Like I've said so many times, I don't like confrontation. I don't like when people are upset with me. I don't like being mean. Like I don't like, I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be with him, but he's so great, so let's try to make this work, when I should have just been like, hey, it's not gonna happen. Because that would have stopped so much heartache and problems and all that stuff. Okay, so I have a bunch of my journals. This is my high school journal, so David's not in this one, but this picture. What's wrong with me? Did I send you this one?
That's exceptional. On the road to nowhere. You give yourself such an aged face in all your self-illustrations, like, because I know when these were drawn, and it's like what you imagine Sissy Spacek playing you would look like. It's a pretty accurate presentation of teenage gawky arms, though, how they kind of bend in to themselves.
The only things I could find was like, I just video chatted with David. Yay, I miss him, sad face. But that's like all. I wouldn't like write a lot about you because I think
so. The takeaway is that I'm a very impactful.
No, it's because I was always terrified someone was gonna read my journal. I didn't want anyone to see a vulnerable, like softy, lovey-dovey side of me, so I never showed it to anybody. Okay, but
that's what I used it for. Like I was very uncomfortable with anything like that. Yeah. But I would write missives.
Well, he brought some, which I'm so stoked on. So I see my handwriting. What is that one?
Well, this one said, I don't know these. Like, I think in most other situations, a fully dressed guy sitting poolside watching a bunch of girls and their moms swim would be weird. So that's how we start from me. And I said, it is weird, haha, but we are all weird, so it works out. I want to go shopping. Candy Blandies. Is scared of Charlie? Please, I don't know.
I don't get the Charlie.
Candy Bland, what are we talking about? As sincere and honest as I've ever been, I've never seen someone as heart-stoppingly beautiful in a photograph. Then you look in that picture I saw tonight. You're timeless. You are timeless and classic and completely perfect in my eyes. I hope you can see how lovely you are.
I thought he would write this and hand it to me and I'd read it and be like, that's nice, and hand it back. I would never be like, you too, or like, thank you, I love you so much. I'd just be like, cool, and like.
You pulled out at least one excellent one. This happened in a moment of lapse for you, where things were better.
Oh my god, this is so Miranda. Like, didn't even want to redo it. Like, I messed up and I just scribble it out. I'm like, oops, messed up.
But written in a very nice pen, so it's like an elegant mistake.
It's like glitter pen. I can't even read my own writing. I like tried to make it fancy by writing cursive, which also, this is Bethany's handwriting in my book of the last year. I know that a lot of the time I am difficult, selfish, stubborn, and bratty, but
you knew.
I knew. But I hope you know how much I care about you and love you despite my immature actions. A lot of ups and downs and made a lot of mistakes, but through it all, you have never stopped treating me like a princess. That's true. My whole life I have truly I'm so uncomfortable. My whole life I've truly believed that there was something wrong with me. That's true, I still do. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to love you as much as I do. Well, yes, because if you weren't there, I couldn't, like, that is a very moronic sentence.
It's not your best work. I think
Did you read that and go,
I think in the moment I just read it and was like, whew, okay.
Another day.
Another day.
Thank you for being the best part of my life. Happy anniversary. Love, Colleen May. P.S. Breaking up with you in a month. He brought like 17 books.
Sighs and smiles can go together without compromising their integrity. What was I going on about?
So he would always write these like poetic, nice, sweet, adoring things, and I would write the dumbest stuff. There's so many. I feel like we're gonna have to make a part 2 to this. So this is a good example of what my pages would look like. So it basically just says, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. And he's like, you are the sun and the moon. This is lyrics. Are you sleeping? Guess you really are. Keep on sleeping. I won't be that far. Or would you rather I just stay here on the floor?
This was a long time ago, everybody.
This was a very long time ago. So a decade ago.
When we dated, so longer than that.
Longer. Most of this was
probably like 13 years ago.
I remember you buying me a ring. I remember a ring.
Yes.
Not that kind of ring. I think I still have that ring somewhere.
Oh, do you?
I think so.
Oh, I think that's charming.
I still have the sock puppets.
Okay.
I still have, I still have the sock puppets. I have tons of stuff, but like I used to paint all the time.
In the park. It's crazy that this would bring back any vivid memory of anything at all.
It looks like toenail clippings. But we would go to the park in the middle of the night and paint. Just randomly paint weird things that make no sense. And some of those paintings ended up on the walls of Haters Back Off. But yeah, we did that, and then we tap dance. He would teach me to tap dance. I think that's enough. This is the longest video I've ever posted in my life. But thank you, David, for being here, and I'm really sorry that I was horrible to you.
I don't remember it negatively. I'm happy it happened. I'm happy to know you still.
Oh, me too. March 14th, the Bombshells are having a show. Please come. David does all the arrangements. You guys know one of my best friends, Heather. She's in this awesome girl group called the Bombshells. You guys should follow all their social medias below and subscribe to them. But David does all the arrangements for them, and he like manages the group essentially.
And I sing a lot more with them now. It's great. It's gonna be a good show. We're doing like 6 or 7 brand new tunes that show.
Oh, sweet.
So.
I'm gonna try to go if I'm in town. I don't know if I am.
You should.
If I'm here, I'll go.
You should legitimately.
Okay, I really will. Okay. All right, talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Oh, and pre-order my book. Okay, bye.